Jeff Burkholder. Yes, Jeff.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Lo siento. Good evening, Mr. City Attorney. My comments will be mostly directed to the City Attorney here, since my very brief speech has to do with hate groups and the manifestation of a hate group in Tucson that I discovered. For the record, let me state that I profiled radical religious and racialist organizations, including U.S. organized motorcycle gangs and neo-satanic outlaw cults, for federal law and local law enforcement for many years, including Tucson Police Special Investigations when Detective Sharon Allen was in charge of that, and Tucson Police Gang Crimes Unit. I'm bringing this to your attention because it involves somebody here that I understand some people on this city council support this radical racist attorney, Isabel Garcia. And while I was doing some research on Dr. Garcia, I found some quotes posted on the Derechos Humanos website that led me to azindymedia.com. Just real quick, this is just for your information. I'll quote them. I have some extra copies here if you'd like to look. By the way, I posted the link from Derechos Humanos for these quotes on azstarnet.com. And I received the complaint because 2 days later, I went back to check the link, the hot link on the Derechos Humanos website, and the link had disappeared. I only have 6 or 7 very brief quotes here for the council and for the city attorney. And I quote, "It is the manifest destiny of the Mexican people to recover the lands stolen in 1847 and keep some of the gringas," which is a racial slur. "The land will then be given back to the Indios, and they can decide whose stays and whose is shipped back to Europe." Next quote. "So go back to Europe, Pilgrim, and if you don't like what's going on, you can effing leave my country as far as I'm concerned." Next quote. I would just like to say that just as white people came here and populated, we Mexicans are coming to the U.S. and populating. All of a sudden, all of Aztlan, which I know that Mr. Ibarra's heard that before, all of a sudden, all of Aztlan will have a majority of brown people, and then the whole country. Why do you keep crying about these facts? You should just accept them and go on with life. Or if you don't like it, you can go back to Europe where you came from. I am in my land, Aztlan. Viva la raza, viva Aztlan. If this doesn't help, maybe Darwin can teach you a lesson in evolution and the survival of the fittest. Obviously, natural selection has chosen the raza, the race, as the fittest and most adaptive species that not only reproduces because of genetics and adaptation to the land, but as intellectuals with complex survival mechanisms. Next quote. "I've been looking all over the map and I don't see a country called white land. Maybe we should deport them all back to England, Germany, and Poland where they came from." Last quote. "If you don't want Latinos or Indios to hate you, you better go to your effing continent where all you pink belong. You all effing invaders, go where you belong. You all deserve to die because you never care about nobody else but you. F off, you all and all your violent race." I understand there are at least 2 city council members here that support this radical racist attorney, Isabel Garcia, and I reject it. I reject this, and I reject La Voz de Aztlan for putting a swastika over the Star of David and blaming Jewish lesbians for the creation of the feminist movement.
You're
Aztlan.
You're out of time.
This is hate speech, and I reject it as such. And I reject anybody that supports Isabel Garcia.
Roy Warden.
Roy Warden, Tucson, Arizona. I've got 8 copies here. You folks have already received it by email. It's regarding 2 state initiatives, LAW or Legalize Arizona Workers, and SOUL or Support Our Law Enforcement Now. I'm leaving these letters off official notification to you. I'm requesting you make it an official agenda item. I will be taking additional steps to see that that's done. Now you people listen up. You got a week. You got until next Monday to get your Tucson Police Department in shape. I've been holding weekly meetings, the Tucson Weekly Public Forum, for 3 weeks. The Tucson Police Department has allowed Mexican Pandeo thugs to assault us, to spit at us, to knock down our barriers that we set up for public safety. We're right at that point. Mr. Mayor, you were on TV 3 or 4 weeks ago saying, "Hey, look, it's Tiger Woods. Look what's going on in Tucson." This is what's going to happen. The first attempt of deadly force, I see somebody pull something out of their pocket under these conditions, I'm going to discharge my firearm at that person and in the crowd. I've got hotheads I can't control, Hispanic American activists that circulate in these groups. They're also packing heat. If it comes down to a gunfight, it's going to make the gunfight at the OK Corral look like Sunday school. We're going to stack up 10 or 15 bodies. You're going to have federal investigations in here. You're going to have every media source in here, and all of your sources of investment in this city and this county are going to dry up. For the last 25 years, you people and your predecessors have loaded up this country and loaded up this county with illegal Mexican aliens. You've done it for votes and you've done it for money, and now it's coming to a head. Listen again. You got a week to get your police department in order, or there's going to be blood in the streets, and it's all going to be on your head. You got that? Also, there's a federal injunction coming. I'll be filing paperwork in the next 10 days for a temporary restraining order and a federal injunction and a lawsuit. I've got all the evidence I need. It's already been approved. You're smiling, Mr. Ibarra. You're behind all of this stuff. You people think it's a joke. It's not. Some of you are going to end up in jail, and there's going to be a lot of dead bodies in the street. So you better get a hold of your police department, and you better get them protecting our right of speech, or we're going to start killing people. You got it? Yeah.
Russell Dub. Oh, we'll see.
Mayor and Council, my name is Russ Dove. I domicile in the city of Tucson. I'm a non-funded speaker. Last week I said the jury was still out as to this part of the community that the city government, the police department appeases to. The events that occurred yesterday pretty much made it clear in my head what's going on. On August 17th, I walked into a building that I know known subversives and traitors were holding a meeting to overthrow my country. I told them to get out. I was arrested and handcuffed in the back of a vehicle for 3 hours and detained for 6 hours, 4 hours after my bail was posted. Yesterday, I was spit on. I had paper objects thrown at me. I had death threats and a number of gang signs. All of it's on video. All of it's posted on YouTube right now. When the event was over, my car was parked right out here on 255 East Alameda Street, right out in front of the court, the county city building here. As I left the Pennington Stone Avenue, apparently 4 or 5 of these kids, and they were all high school kids. It started out 4 or 5 of them. It turned into about 60 of them. And trust me, if you'll take the time to go to YouTube and look at Solve 777 and look at what I've posted up there, you guys ought to really be concerned. There's a little Aztlanists La Raza Maldev school down the street, and these kids told me that I was a dead man because I was standing in their country. And if you all are happy with these kids believing that they're living in Mexico and calling it multiculturalism, multi-language, it's BS, guys. These kids believe this land is theirs. The last 4 presidents of Mexico said they were going to do it, and the last 4 presidents of America have continued to help them do it. And I can lay out all the record. The bottom line is when I left yesterday, 5 of them followed me. And right out in front of the building, they left a great big old dent in front of my car where they hurled rocks at me. I consider that an act of deadly violence, and by the time I got out of the car with my gun in my hand, I had a clear shot, you would have had a dead body laid in the street. As far as I'm concerned, that is an act of deadly violence. And if they feel so comfortable thinking they're going to pelt me with rocks or bullets, I will respond in the most violent of ways, and I won't stop once it's started. Now, we can continue this word dialogue because I've said over and over again, sticks and stones and bullets will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We can have this dialogue, and I continue to extend my arm to them and explain to them that this is crazy, this is insanity, this is not your land, and it isn't even my land anymore. There's so much bureaucracy and lawlessness going on. All that can come of this is bloodshed, and I say we are an intelligent enough people, we are compassionate enough people, we are caring enough people that we can open our eyes and face the reality of the problems we've created for whatever reason. I don't care about what brought us to this point, but by God, if we don't get our eyes open to where we're at and stand up as real backbone-driven human beings to solve the problem, I guarantee you all of your dreams are going to collapse around your heads. And just if they wrote me an email, I know where you live, and trust me, I'm not going to go after the peasants. I know who's responsible for this, and that's where I'll go. And that's not a threat. I continue to seek peaceful resolution of this. Thank you.
Joe Sweeney.
Yeah, my name is Joseph Sweeney. I'm with 1411 North 3rd Avenue, Tucson, Arizona. You can see what's happening to our simple little speaker's corner downtown that we had yesterday. It's just an embarrassment to see that these kids are getting loose on us, and they're causing the simple terrorization of our lives. It's simple as that. We've got to get you aware of that. You've got a responsibility to not to neglect this nonsense. If you're deliberately indifferent to our people's civil rights, you're in violation of your responsibilities as members of the city council. You have to look into that. Ask the city attorney if before you get sued. This is nonsense, allowing these little potential little instinctive savages to terrorize people that are trying to hold a conversation. And that's where I think that you ought to wake up before you do get sued, and you have to sign the summonses and the complaints. Because this is not a joke. You have an ethical responsibility as leaders of this community to stop this nonsense. You can't turn this community into a safe harbor for illegal aliens. These people do not belong in this country. You can't harbor stayovers and more stayovers until it's a circus joke. And that's what we've got. So I would warn you that to do the right thing and take responsibility for the behavior of these characters. We worked hard to build the tax base of this community. Why turn it over to perfect strangers from another country? Thank you.